the great V8 has been part of the trademark of NASCAR late model sedan racing for over 3 decades. So too has been the incredibly close competition, the 300km/h drafting, and of course the traditional on-track traumas when things go wrong. NASCAR and its down-under offspring AUSCAR are now Australia's fastest growing and arguably most popular form of motor racing. Today, 7 Sport greets you from Melbourne's Calder Park as we prepare for a day of thunder at the NASCAR and AUSCAR Summer Nationals. Good afternoon, Australia. I'm Mike Raymond. Welcome to Calder Park Thunderdome and round 3 of the NASCAR and AUSCAR Australian Championships. Well, conditions today, absolutely ideal. Not a cloud in the sky, 30 degrees the temperature, and another huge crowd rolling in here for what promises to be a sensational afternoon of racing. Well, super speedway competition is totally different to touring car racing that we experienced last Sunday at Sandown. And to explain the difference, let's go to the track, our own Neil Crompton.
Mike, I've spent most of my life turning left and right in race cars, but this is a totally new experience. I'm driving Robin Best's Euro Nova NASCAR. This is the most incredible experience because these cars are very heavy, they are very, very fast, and they basically misbehave everywhere except here, up in the turn. The car's extremely quick in a straight line, but when you get up in the bank, it's absolutely glued to the road. The smart money, they tell me, is to get around here in around about 28 seconds. As for Crobley, no way, Jose. 48 seconds will do me just nicely, thank you very much. To make some form of comparison between this car and a touring car is virtually a joke. There is no comparison. I think I better get out of here and get back in the tourer.
Don't worry, son. Practice makes perfect. Well, in most cases, anyway. Today, $175,000 in prize money is up for grabs in the NASCAR and AUSCAR Nationals at Thunderdome. Yesterday, the qualifying sessions for both categories produced plenty of incidents. The battle for pole in the Goodyear AUSCAR Championship was intense, as everyone, it seemed, wanted to qualify in the low 27s. Unfortunately, without adhesion, that was impossible. Luckiest save was Rod McLeod's effort after setting fastest time of the day. Brad Jones was considered the man to beat for pole in the Cooper Tools Commodore, but he was clipped in the final moments of practice by Marshall Brewer, with the split over the first 15 cars being less than a second. The NASCAR qualifying also had its moments. Max Dumsney, the Australian sprint car champion, produced the wildest slide job of the day. A little more expensive was the wall banger by American Wyatt Earp IV. It was a little saddle sore for the experience. The smart money was on Tasmanian Robin Best in the Euro Nova Paint Century, but that was not to be. American Terry Fisher in the 09 Pontiac was faster. So too were Queenslander Charlie O'Brien in the number 8 Billy Hagan Oldsmobile, and the fastest man on the oval, Sydney's George Elliott in the Real McCoy Kentucky Bourbon Lumina. The times were incredibly close, hopefully a forerunner of what's to come today. After the break, it's time to knuckle down and buckle up when the flag drops for the $75,000 Goodyear AUSCAR Classic. Doubt the state of motor racing in Australia is in fairly healthy hands. A huge turnout here today at Calder Park Thunderdome as we prepare for round 3 of the Goodyear AUSCAR National Championship Series. A stellar field. Look at those grandstands. Dearie me. The crowd standing here and cheering to the drivers as they come down the front straight on their parade lap. 1 lap before the start, and time to check out the grid, how they line up today. Pole position has gone to Marshall Brewer with a 32.10 lap. Brad Jones starts on the outside of the front row in the Cooper Tools Commodore. From position number 3, it's 33, Rod McLeod's in another Commodore. From 4, 23, Mark Seaton, the first of the Fords. From 5, it's 11, Richard Howe. From position number 6, Greg Hansford of Queensland. From 7 at 16, Stephen Harrington and another Commodore. From 8, 88, Owen Davies. From 9, 38, Mike Oliver. And rounding out the 10 is Terry Wyhoon in a Commodore VK. Time to bid good afternoon to Mark Osler and to Neil Crompton, who has put away the driving suit as we prepare for round 3. Well, another big one.
A fantastic field of cars, Mike. 28 in all, and Marshall Brewer pipping Brad Jones by 0.05 of a second for pole position. Nothing in that. It's also interesting, the first 15 cars are covered by less than a second in qualifying. Should be quite a show.
They're on their parade lap at the moment, going down the back straight. Beautiful day, as I said in the opener here at Calder Park Thunderdome. Not a cloud in the sky, so we don't have the worry of rain that we faced back in December. Bradley Jones will be carrying race cam for us in this event. They're starting to build up speed now as Bradley and Marshall J. Brewer come off turn number 4 down to the tri-oval. Green flag ready to drop, and they're racing round 3 of the Goodyear AUSCAR series. And side by side down the front straightaway go Marshall Brewer and Bradley Jones.
Quite a good start from Marshall Brewer. You remember late last year in the December meeting that these two guys had a fabulous scrap. Judging on the form after practice, we're going to be on for a great battle again today. So Jones getting a little closer now at the end of the back straight. This is lap 1. Brewer leads, car 69.
Marshall's all pumped up for this race. He's reckons he's had a lot of bad luck in leading up races, and he says he can beat Brad Jones if he gets half a break, and I think he's really intent on doing that today.
Back across the strike now. First lap completed. There's the gap.
Rod McLeod in 3rd place in the VN Commodore, and tucked in behind him in 4th place Greg Hansford in the first of the Fords, car number 1. SVO Motorsport entry. And Greg's made a good start as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the progress of this car today.
We take our wins race cam. We ride with Brad Jones in the Cooper Tools Commodore. He's about to come back through the tri-oval. There's the crowd off to the left as he sits in the draft now of Marshall Brewer, the fast-track Commodore.
Well, Jones is running after him at the moment. He's not going to let him get away.
You can hear that 308 5-litre V8, 350 horsepower pumping out of this thing. Bradley knows how to use every ounce of that. Look at him tacking onto the back of Marshall Brewer as they come off turn 2, sorry.
They work the back straight. Brad Jones very eager to make a move on Marshall Brewer. Rod McLeod, as Neil mentioned, sits back in 3rd. Right behind him, Greg Hansford. A good start from Greg Hansford in the SVO entry. But magnificent pictures from the Wins race cam. Down on the inside of Marshall Brewer. Can't pull it this time. Sits in the draft.
Tucked in behind Hansford, we've got Steve Harrington in the double TFM car, one of the earlier model Commodores, so Steve's doing a beaut job to stay in touch with the leaders at the moment. He's well and truly in this battle. Jones again, as we take bumper cam, looks on the inside of Brewer. Very heavy braking application at the end of the back straight. Settle the car down, try and stop it from drifting up the track, and then get stuck back into it once again. The thing that the guys have to be mindful of in this race is that it's 135 laps, and the way that your rubber is treated, the way that you treat your brakes, and generally the way you push the car has to be tempered by the fact that you've got to survive.
Incident-free so far as the front runners work the back straight. Brewer still leading, Jones in 2nd, Rod McLeod is 3rd, Greg Hansford is 4th.
Yeah, Bradley struggled a little bit in qualifying. He said the car wasn't set up exactly how he'd like it. It was pushing a bit or understeering. But he said he'd had the setup for the race. And here he comes, putting that to good measure. Jones up the inside. Marshall Brewer, side by side. Jones got him.
Good move. Brad Jones, the Cooper Tools Commodore, carrying our Wins race cam. Now moves off turn 2 onto the back straight.
And look at Rod McLeod and Greg Hansford in the SBO Falcon. They're starting to tap onto Marshall too. We should have a 4-car train here fairly shortly. Marshall has a look down the inside as they go into turn 3, but Jones has him covered.
There's the top 4. Back through the tri-oval again. There's McLeod 33 and Greg Hansford sitting right behind him.
AUSCAR fans may be wondering where that very fast XF Falcon of Mark Seaton is this weekend, but Mark had a big engine blow up in the morning warm-up.
Change for the lead, and Brewer comes back again at turn 1. Sorry to interrupt there, Mark.
But a good race going here as they work the back straight. All Commodores at the moment, and the Ford sitting back there in 4th.
Yeah, Mick Webb and the SVO Motorsports crew have been doing a lot of work on this Ford, and we've had a bit of a dust-up back in the field there. But they're getting a little bit more horsepower and a few more revs out of this car, and as you can see, it's paying off. It's getting faster and faster each race meeting, and Greg's very confident of a good result today.
Another possibility for a change for the lead as we take Wins race cam. Jones on the inside. They're side by side. The yellow flag has come out, though, and the yellow light's flashing, so they'll have to remain where they are. The car got out of shape in that spot there. You can see the dust, and he's parked on the infield section, and they'll clear the debris. Interesting to determine who leads the field now, because I'd say they were line balling as they went round to the back straight. There's the car that's off. Is that the Mike Oliver entry?
Looks like it, yes.
These blokes, Jones and Brewer, were neck and neck when the yellow came out. So who leads? Interesting question.
Yes.
So Bradley said, well, I think it should be me, funnily enough. And I'm sure that Marshall would dispute the point. But Jones in car number 8, the Cooper Tools entry, has resumed his position at the head of the field. He's going to be well positioned when the green comes back out again.
Yellow flag laps continue. Bradley Jones leads the race. Bradley, things going pretty well for you.
Well, it's very early, Mike. What are we, into the 8th lap or something? I can't complain. I'm glad I wasn't in that mess. You know, the car is getting a little bit loose today because of this increasing temperature. It's having a push coming into the turns and a bit loose coming out, but looking at the back of Marshall's car for a few laps there, I can see he's having every bit as much, if not more, trouble than me. So, yeah, I'm pretty happy.
Looks like they're about ready to pull the green flag out. We'll let you go back to racing.
Thanks, Mike. Talk to you later.
Pace car pulls to the infield. Brad Jones, car number 8, the Cooper Tools entry, will lead the field. This time across the line, 11 laps completed. Marshall Brewer tucked in behind. Then Rod McLeod, Greg Hansford and Steve Harrington. They're showing the green flag. We're back underway once again. Good start from Jones. Jumps away a little from Brewer. Hansford makes a good start. So the aggro continues, and Mike Oliver has pitted, put some new boots on that car and rejoins the field. So the field's still intact.
Steve Harrington got away to a good start too, Neil. He's running about 6th or 5th at the moment as they come down the back straight. Picked them up on the coming into turn number 3 now, and there he is having a big run around the outside. Guy's done well with the AUSCAR class of racing here at Calder Thunderdome.
Hansford, the big move on McLeod in 3rd position, heads down to turn 1. I think he's outmanoeuvred him and moves the Falcon up to 3rd spot. Holden, Falcon, 1, 2 and 3 now. So Rod McLeod caught just a little wide that time. Now Steve Harrington makes a move as well, and he moves up to 4th. McLeod might have a problem. Harrington lunges at the back of the Falcon that time up in turn 3. Looks pretty good at the moment.
Yeah, Steve would be happy with this. He had a frustrating time in the midweek. He had all sorts of carving and problems, and the engine was misfiring, but it looks like they've sorted it out. It's running very strongly. Taps onto the back of Hansford as they turn into turn 1. So it's Jones, Brewer, Hansford and Harrington.
Race cam, courtesy of Wins, out the back of the Cooper Tools Commodore, and you can see that scrap. Here comes Hansford down on the inside of Marshall Brewer.
Geez, Hansford really is truly competitive today. They've struggled and they've worked hard on this car. Hansford loves this sort of racing, and he's having a great time out there.
That was Charlie O'Brien's stop, sorted out his problems and rejoins the field at the tail, but he's still on the lead lap. So it's Jones, Brewer, Hansford, Harrington. And Rod McLeod really drifting away from the pace now. Must have a problem of some description. Harrington looks really good here. He's right onto the back of Hansford as they head down to turn 1. Ducking and weaving, trying to find a gap. It's not there at the moment because Hansford's busy looking for a way through to 2nd place.
This will give Hansford some heart. Up running and very competitive with the Bob Jane T-Mart's Ford, working the back straight. Looking forward to a good run at the Gold Coast, keeping in mind the AUSCAR and NASCAR machinery, supporting the IndyCar Gold Coast Grand Prix. What a thrill that'll be a fortnight from today. And these things should look absolutely tremendous on the street circuit. You can see how close they are here on the oval.
Spectacular looking cars, Mike, and the presentation is excellent. They're really brightly coloured things. They sound good. They shake the stands as they come past. They're exciting cars.
And there's Holden versus Ford.
Absolutely.
The best part.
Harrington sitting right on the bumper of his car. Might be setting up for a draft as Hansford now charges down on the inside lane. Brewer also trying to do the same, but again he's unsettled. Now he's taking
Hansford.
Hansford is just trying to edge the Bob Jane T-Mart's car down on the inside. So the SVO Motorsport car and Marshall Brewer being attacked from both sides at the moment as he tries to protect 2nd place.
I think Harrington's got Hansford. He has, or he's still hanging in there, but he's on the high side of the bank. He's going to switch across, so he's picked up 3rd place.
Well, I don't know about this business of the VNs necessarily being slipperier than the VL, because Steve Harrington's well and truly holding the pace at the moment with the 2 lead cars, which are later model Holdens.
Yeah, he's doing a fabulous job. He's brought into this battle now, and Hansford's not going to let him go, though. It's still this 4-car draft, and here comes Harrington again on the outside of Brewer. Takes Hansford with him. They'll go 3 wide into turn 1.
Great stuff. look at this. Some real racing.
Harrington to second. Brewer's up high. He's out in the marbles. Hansford slips through to third. Owen Davies getting stuck into this as well in car number 88. I think he's going to get Brewer, who's made a very slow exit from turn 2.
Yeah,
he hangs on.
He got out in the loose up there, picked up a bit of dirt on the tyres, and he dropped off, but he's gathered it up. And look at Jones. He's just pulled like a 2-car break. He's been keeping the thing straight up in the nice clean air at the front of the field, and he's just making little gains all the time. But Hansford has a look down inside Harrington. He's not going to give up quick, and he's back into second place.
Doing a good job, Greg, and so too Stephen Harrington. Brewer dropping back through the pack, and Owen Davies coming up smartly. He was pulling them in, well, probably about 3 or 4 laps ago. He's been keeping the momentum up, and now is caught on the tail here of Brewer. But he's going to the outside. He's actually going to try and go straight round the outside of Brewer.
And look at this behind this crew. There's Rod McLeod in the yellow and white car. He dropped back for a few laps there, but now he's got a little bit more speed, and he's trying to track onto this high-speed train. So soon we're going to have about half a dozen or 7 cars all running nose to tail.
Yes, I don't know that McLeod did have a problem. He just backed away from the pace. Maybe he decided he didn't want to push this crazy pace and just sit in there. It is 135 laps. But it's Jones, Hansford, Harrington in third, Owen Davies in fourth, then Marshall Brewer, Rod McLeod. As we look at Mike Oliver in the pits, car number 38, second time in there today.
Oops, there's one sideways.
Number 89, Ian Luff, the advanced driving school instructor. 35 laps down, 100 laps to go over the AUSCAR.
And in fact, it's 2 100ths of a second the gap between Jones and Hansford at the moment, according to our computer timing system. So that's how close they're running.
These positions in a constant state of flux, but at this stage of the race, they're all sitting in this high-speed draft, so it wouldn't be that critical whether you're in third or fourth at this stage. Oh, we've lost one.
Owen Davies in the background there, as we saw the shot from Wynn's race cam. He's recovered. If Bradley was a gentleman, he'd just drive down there and show us that shot.
Bad luck there for Owen Davies, but he will head into the pits.
Have some nice square tyres now.
That could have brought out the yellow flag, but because he's decided to go straight to the pits, the race continues. Bradley Jones on the outside, and right behind him is Greg Hansford in the SBO Ford. Nothing between them as they come around the bank turn here. Steve Harrington runs in third as they come back through the tri-oval. And this fascinating Goodyear AUSCAR race continues. Let's check them out for you on our wins race score. Brad Jones continues to lead the Goodyear event. Second spot, Greg Hansford doing a great job out there. Very consistent. Steve Harrington runs in third. Marshall Brewer is fourth, and Richard Howe rounds out the 5. Back at Calder in just a moment.
It's onto the back of Jones, though. It's the 4-car train. Hansford, Harrington, Jones making a run on Harrington now. More speed off the banking. He's picking up second spot.
He's certainly a trier. They pan the camera around in Brad Jones' car. And there's the gap. Greg Hansford back to Bradley. And Steve Harrington just ahead of Marshall Brewer.
Interesting thing in all this, Mike, is that if we look at the championship after a couple of rounds with Jones leading with 350, Greg East second, 310, none of the people that he's really playing with at the moment are challenging him in the series. And Bruce Williams was third, as Marshall Brewer makes another lunge. Owen Davies fourth, Charlie O'Brien fifth. Marshall Brewer, who we're looking at there, is probably the closest man in this battle. Car number 69, sixth in the championship. So not only is it a race for today's money, and there's plenty of it, but you have to keep the championship in perspective as well.
Absolutely. $75,000 on this race this afternoon at Calder Thunderdome. That's not series money, that's just prize money. So the boys are really at it, and with very, very good incentive.
For those fans of Greg East, who is running second in the series, he's back in 11th position at the moment, not having the best of days. Notice that Brewer's car is starting to get very, very out of shape in a few of these turns now. So he's got the problem that Jones was talking about earlier when you spoke with him, Mike, that as the temperature rises here and it's becoming a very hot afternoon in Melbourne, clear skies, the cars tend to understeer on the way into the corners and oversteer on the way out. And the oversteer is the thing that really kills the tyres.
There's that fabulous shot out of the headlight of Brad Jones' car. So the car's bouncing and bumping around. It's a very rough track, and they're right on the limit of adhesion as they swing through these big turns. Hansford working the car hard, but here comes Marshall Brewer.
So I think at that stage, you notice that Greg Hansford appears to be working his car a little bit harder. Owen Davis, is it?
Yeah, he lost the front left wheel.
Wheels off.
Broken a wheel stud and just stumbling to the infield, and the yellow flags come out.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you'll see the cars head for the pits very, very shortly.
He went very close to taking out Jones, in fact, when the thing popped. It was right next to that leading bunch.
We're riding in Brad Jones, Cooper Tools Commodore, behind Greg Hansford as he comes down the back straight under yellow flags. Any thought of a pit stop, Bradley?
Well, I don't think there's going to be too many yellows, Mike. And I've got to tell you, I'm a bit worried about it, but we haven't left as much traffic as I would like to, so we're going to try and hang on till the next yellow, if they have one. So this is the point of the race where it starts to get a bit tricky. You can lose it or win it real quick in this situation.
Brado, did you see Owen Davies out of shape there when you came down the front straight? He lost his front left wheel, and it looked to me as though it was fairly close to your car.
See him, how could I miss him? I thought he was at right angles with the front of it at one stage. I can tell you I was starting to panic for a while. I couldn't work out what was going on.
Pace car leads the field around off turn number 4, drops below the yellow line. We're ready to go back to racing. Green flag. Greg Hansford on the outside, Brad Jones behind him, and Marshall Brewer. Green flag comes out now, and it's somewhat of a scramble start. They're about 5 wide coming down the front straight, back behind the leaders. And it's Bradley Jones, Stephen Harrington. Hansford actually got away the slowest of a lot of them. He's been consumed by about 2 or 3, 4 cars. We'll fight back on the inside with Richard Howe making a run on him at the moment. Rod McLeod is back on the outside, and positioned on the inside is Marshall Brewer. Another huge race going here as Jones up on the inside of Stephen Harrington at the end of the back straight.
So Steve, after working hard for the first 48 laps, did get to the lead, but had it for only quarter of a lap. And car number 8's taken it back again, and we've got 2 cars involved in this incident at the top. Car for 50, I think it might have been, and that was Grant Monday. And that's brought out the yellow once more. The other car involved seemed to skate away all right. So just one car being sidelined, but he hit the wall very heavily.
Yeah, there's plenty of bodywork flying around there.
Let's have a look at the replay. Got it around sideways, 2 of them up into the wall. Monday hits the wall head on and then glides back down the racetrack. Car's trying to miss him and parks it on the infield.
Couldn't pick up the other car there, but certainly car number 50 looking a little worse for wear. It may well have been Greg East, the man that's second in this series in car number 99. Looked like his colours, but it was a little hard to tell. But he's a long way back in this field, hasn't had the best of weekends.
Cars moving down the back straight, jostling for restart positions. Pace car about ready to pull off the racetrack. We'll go back to racing this time. Across the start-finishing line, Bradley Jones in the Cooper Tools Commodore. Right behind him, Stephen Harrington, Greg Hansford, Marshall Brewer, Rod McLeod and Richard Howe. That's the order. Coming off turn number 4, waiting for the green flag to come out. It does now. Getting away very quickly indeed was Bradley Jones. Probably his best start so far, and he absolutely streaked Steve Harrington. Greg Hansford was away just a little quicker. He'll retain third as they go down to turn number 1. Then Marshall Brewer right behind him, and Rod McLeod getting closer to them in car number 33. Nothing between the leader and the challenger as they work the back straight. It's Jones over Harrington, and Harrington now zipping to the inside. Here he comes. Catches Jones wide, and Steve Harrington goes through to take the lead.
They dive down to turn 3 once more. Here we are. That fabulous shot at the back of Hansford's Falcon, working hard as it comes off the bank. These cars, you can see just how close they run to the wall too.
Here's Hansford having a big run down the outside. Ford taking the Holden on the outside, going into the bottom turn. Harrington fights back though, retains the lead. Forced to drop in behind and ride the draft down the back straight as Hansford. Bradley Jones will pick the pair of them up perhaps on the back straight as Hansford pulls out of the draft. Down on the inside of Harrington as they go into turn number 3. Now all that jostling around, you'll notice Jones is getting back in touch. Hansford to the low line this time. Harrington the high line. Jones, will he go between them? Yes! Looking for the lead. What a pass down on the inside. Can he pass and hold the lead? Yes, he has. Great racing from Bradley Jones and the Cooper Tools Commodore.
Sensational stuff, and Marshall Brewer's tapped on now. Look at this, Harrington's not going to give in to Hansford. Locked in battle at the head of the back straight. Unbelievable stuff. Hansford just caught them all surprised today. Qualified in 6th. Didn't expect him to be running this strongly.
Coming down across the start-finishing line, 59 laps completed. Bradley Jones of Albury leads in the Cooper Tools Commodore. Steve Harrington, a Commodore, runs in 2nd. Behind them, Greg Hansford in the first of the Fords, and then right behind him is, of course, Marshall Brewer. And Brewer's getting back into racing form. Sat on pole for this, dropped a little off the pace, and has come back. Still in 4th at the moment, and a little closer this lap than he was the previous lap to the tail of Hansford's car. Hansford not to be tonight, comes back on the inside of Harrington, looking for 2nd, and takes it.
We should be heading up to a fairly critical time in the race now as far as the tyre stops go. So these things will be looking pretty tired by now, so these guys will be looking for a yellow or some sort of tactical advantage before they pull into the pits.
Hansford makes another lunge at Jones, the end of the back straight. This is fabulous racing. 4 cars absolutely hammer and nail going for the lead.
Hansford really nailed Jones turning into there, didn't he, Neil?
Yes, he made a lot of ground very quickly at the end of that back straight. Still not over yet. We are 61 laps in as we take Wynn's race cam. That's Hansford on the inside, car 1, the Bob Jane T-Mart's entry.
Oh, Marshall! He's hollered for one. Straight back up the track. Bang, centre punched. And the 2 cars go.
37, Rod Wilson. Look at that. Marshall's done it again.
Well, the car was loose early in the race. I thought it was running very strongly in the last 10 or 15 laps and handling a lot better.
Gee, he was saying in practice how he needs just a little change of luck before he can have some success here, but look at that. The bad luck continues.
Well, let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at the replay. Marshall Brewer getting around sideways, trying to control it. It's fine there, but centrifugal force is going to take him back up the track.
And crunch.
That is a big crunch.
Is a hard hit.
From a different angle now, back up the racetrack. Here he comes. And Rod McLeod misses this and gets around the outside at about the same time. There goes McLeod. An expensive bone shaker here at Calder Park Raceway.
Charlie O'Brien follows him, Richard House, Rod McLeod goes in, Greg Hansford and Steve Harrington have elected to stay out. This is where you have to play chess in this business. You really have to know what you're doing.
Cracked Cooper Tools pit crew jumping into action. Bradley reckons these guys are the slickest pit crew you'll find in AUSCAR. And it's pretty hard to argue.
They replaced the 2 working side tyres, and you notice that they...
Okay, let's go race cam, Brad Jones. Tell us what's happening, Brad, in this pretty quick pit stop.
Well, everything's just about to finish. We're off. We decided now was the time to stop, even though that there's not enough lap cars from my mind, but I sat in the line for a while and then snuck in, so if Hansford and Harrington come in now, they'll end up behind me, but the pace is a cracker and we really can't afford to stay out there and hope that I get through to the end. So we'll just have to see now whether we made the right decision.
Did you put any gas in then?
Yeah, we put 20 litres in it and gave it 2 tyres on the outside, so I think I got the best crew here. We usually get the stops done quickest, and my boys are pretty proud of what they do and they get stuck into it, so I think we've certainly beaten everyone else out of the pits that came in with me. Yes.
Car number 1, Bob Jane T-Mart's Greg Hansford car to the pits. And fuel going in, working side tyres being replaced. This man's been very competitive.
He's really enjoying his motor racing, Greg Hansford.
And he's one heck of a good driver.
The car will drop below the racing line as we prepare for the restart with Stephen Harrington to lead the way. Brad Jones will start out of position number 10. Charlie O'Brien just behind him and down to take the green. Harrington must be convinced he can beat this field without a pit stop. It is going to be very, very tight at the finish. So car number 16, Steve Harrington, leads them off turn number 2 onto the back straight. We'll be keeping an eye on Brad Jones as well as he works to the outside, trying to pick up car after car halfway down the back straight and see whether he can pull in Steve Harrington. But Harrington driving superbly, using the low line and now leads them comfortably. Mark Smedley, car number 18, runs in second, then Robbie Burns in third place. So Burns is doing a good job. There's our race leader, Harrington. Smedley right behind him.
I know why Burns is doing a good job.
Why is that?
Well, he's got a new sponsor called Gel Ignite, and we sampled some Gel Ignite earlier in the day, and that's the reason I'm speaking Arabic backwards at the moment.
Williams is in fourth spot, Lee Watkins is fifth, and in sixth is Bradley Jones.
Look at Brad.
Williams is driving the number 9 car, the red car that you can see. That's the ex-Brad Jones Commodore that ran in the season last year. And
well, it's interesting, he's left Charlie behind there. I thought those two would be drafting their way up to the lead pack, but he's made about a 3 or 4 car break on O'Brien.
Williams is the Rookie of the Year leader. This is his first year in AUSCAR competition, and to be running third in the championship's a pretty good job.
12th lead change in 75 laps. Turn number 4 again. Smedley looking sharp out there as he reels one more off. Robbie Burns pokes the nose of his car to the inside. Williams still is half on the grass, half on the black stuff, and he will make it up into second. So Burns goes back to third. Harrington is fourth, and wait for the arrival of Brad Jones as well. Gee, Williams has got a spurt on.
Yeah, he's running really hard at the moment. He had an HQ prior to this, and did a lot of supercar racing prior to owning the HQ. He's also done a little bit of touring car racing, so he's got a lot of experience.
Here he comes, right up onto the tail of Harrington's car. Williams holds it superbly, but this time it'll be Bradley Jones on the inside, maybe to make the move for second as they come down the back straight.
Greg Hansford constantly reducing the gap in the Falcon. He's down to 3.4 seconds behind now.
I might have fumbled the paperwork before too, because I think that Bruce Williams has made his pit stop, so it's only Steve Harrington who's yet to stop as Jones goes round the outside of Williams this time. So cars 8 and 9 in second and third, and Steve Harrington the leader. 85 laps complete.
50 laps remain in the Goodyear AUSCAR Classic here today, round 3 of the Australian Championships. Coming down the back straight, Stephen Harrington, race leader. Harrington's probably got the rather wishy-washy tyres on at the moment.
He's just lost
Bradley Jones, back again on the inside, side by side into turn number 1. So back from position number 10. After the pit stop, Bradley Jones takes the lead once again.
Wynn's race cam shows how tight it is. Jones working away at the wheel.
It's extraordinary that Harrington's car still looks in remarkably good shape. I don't know how he's doing this. Bradley's about 26, 27 laps since he went in for his stop, and Harrington still hasn't lost any speed.
No, it's a good effort so far. He must be very pleased with the balance of his car, and the driver knows best if he feels that it's in good shape. As we look there at Rod McLeod's car, I mentioned him earlier, having pitted a lap or so ago. But, Hansford now 2.6 seconds behind these guys, but Hansford has to deal with Mark Smedley and Bruce Williams before he can get in touch with the battle at the lead.
Well, I think he's just about to do that, just back behind the leaders. As you'll see here, the leaders go through.
And there's...
Hansford out of shape. And the car's got a problem, I think.
Yep. The smoke.
We caught that at just the right moment. It looked to me like it might have blown a tyre or something, but suddenly there was a whiff of smoke. The thing got all out of shape, and Greg caught it.
Well, he's moved back onto the racing line, has he?
Changed for the lead. He is back on the racing line, but he's travelling quite slowly. And changed for the lead again as Harrington comes back. This is a great scrap, and now the yellow flag comes out. And that will be, I reckon, almost certainly because something's been dropped on the surface there, which may in fact have been, yes, there's Lee Watkins' car.
Yeah.
Robbie Burns in 20.
Richard Howe, car 11.
Well, Hansford actually miscued and went into the wrong slot. Then he tucked in behind Bruce Williams and realised he was in the wrong pit.
And that's a great shame for the SBO team. They ran so strongly.
So he's dropped one lap.
They're going to
Obviously, the thing won't kick into life, so they're going to have to bump it.
So Hansford drops the lap.
Pace car about ready to drop beneath the yellow flag with 34 laps to go in the Goodyear AUSCAR event this afternoon at Melbourne's Calder Park Raceway. Back in the pits now is Greg Hansford, so he has a major problem. He's going to be caught in here with the pace car coming in, and the green flag goes, so he is going down more than a lap. Green out. Bradley Jones, the outside. Stephen Harrington. Rod McLeod coming up smartly as well as they go down to the first turn, and Hansford returns to the racetrack. That'll put Harrington to the lead with Jones on the outside. McLeod up into third. And probably a comeback here from, could be Greg East. Jones not to be denied. Race cam shows as he ducks on the inside of Harrington heading up into turn number 3. That's side-by-side motor racing through the bank turns here. Back down through the tri-oval. Spectators off there. Who's going to win the race down to the bottom turn? How close are they as they make it to turn number 1?
That car of Steve's is steering very well. You notice that he's not doing much seesawing the wheel. I think just judging by that shot on race cam there, he's doing less wheel work in that car than Jones is in car number 8, which may be the reason why he's made 102 laps so far and his tyres are in good shape.
Yeah.
But he looks very steady at the wheel. He's not doing a whole heap of seesawing, and he certainly looks pretty strong.
I've just been informed that McLeod has made a couple of stops and he's 2 laps down, so
that would move Bruce Williams up to third, Greg East to 4th.
Greg East to 4th.
Here's Bradley Jones again on the inside of Steve Harrington. He no sooner gets all this done, and then Harrington comes straight back and passes him on the inside. Nothing between these two Commodores.
I reckon that car-wise, Steve's definitely got an edge today. The car looks very good, very strong, but with 106 laps down, still not over yet.
Fantastic racing. Well over 20 lead changes in this race. It gives some indication why they get such big crowds in this place. It's fantastic racing.
Well, look at this. They're absolutely side by side. They come off turn 4, back down through the tri-oval, as they call it. That little kink to the right that straightens them up before the run to the first turn again. And the confidence that Harrington must have in Jones. He knows he's not going to get pinched in the wheel or slammed in the door. He's able to race with Jones side by side.
I think it's going to be purely between Jones and Harrington to the flag, and depending on whether Harrington is going to be forced into the pits, it'll either give it to Bradley on a platter or he'll have to work for it like this. And at the moment, Steve is dead set keen to make him work for it.
Fantastic pictures from Seven's race cam. Jones has a look down the inside again, and there's just nothing in this. Harrington making it look very, very strong.
Spectators counting the laps down. Two-man war going on between Commodore driver Steve Harrington, 16, and Bradley Jones in the Cooper Tools Commodore. Side by side again down the front straight. Change for the lead again as Jones goes through. Reclaims the lead spot. Turn 2 the back straight now. Harrington loves the wide exit off there. That sets him up perfectly. If he gets a good run, he stays out there and usually tries...
Geez, he's going deep under brakes too.
Yeah, tries a bolt around the outside. Now, I think he's figured that quickest way around here is down the inside. Even Steven down the front straight.
These cars are so evenly matched. It's almost going to get to the point where on the last lap, it's going to be the tactics of who can launch themselves in front out of a draft or something is going to win this motor race.
Well, our boys in the pits have gone for a wander up to the Harrington crew, and they're saying that they're not attempting to go through. He does have to make a stop, but they don't know when. Well, their choices now being limited. There's 119 laps down, 120 laps, 15 to go, and
I think they're running out of options in a bit.
Yeah, the cards are disappearing.
Bruce Williams runs in third, but he has dropped well off the pace. He's probably back by, it's probably out now to about 9 seconds. Was about 4 or 5 seconds about 6 or 8 laps ago. So these two are running away from the pack.
6 laps to go now.
Well, we've had a tangle going down into turn number 1. Rod McLeod's involved in that.
he was a bit unlucky. It was the Falcon that, oh, she's backing up the road. It was the Falcon that originally got out of shape and then took Rod McLeod with him.
It's Dave Weatherhead in the XF Falcon there.
Well, they've come together. That opens it up just a little as the yellow comes out. So we're going to have a
replay as we see what happened here. Well, I might retract my earlier remarks. I think it was 50-50. Everybody had a part in that one, including Rod McLeod.
Once these things get out of shape, they take a fair bit of stopping. But no damage done.
No, minimal damage there. McLeod's car is down on the edge of the racetrack. When racing resumes, 5 clear laps down to the checkered flag. That must feel good, Bradley.
Yeah, feel a lot better if I didn't have Harrington hanging off my bum. I can't shake him. He's pretty close, and he's been firing off those restarts, so we'll see what happens.
Well, given that we didn't see Harrington pit, he's done a hell of a job.
Well, I don't think he has, and that's probably what the difference is. I seem to be able to get out of the corners a little better than he is, and it's probably due to the fact that we've got 2 left tyres on, but he's doing a good job, and I can tell you it's hard work getting by him.
Oh, here goes Bradley, and right down the outside comes Steve Harrington, side by side. 5 laps to go in the Goodyear AUSCAR Classic here today at Calder Thunderdome. Bradley the inside, Steve Harrington running the outside. Wins, race cam shows you the pass as Jones takes over command down the back straight.
No, top marks to the double TFM Harrington crew. They've put on a great show. The car's beautifully balanced. It's been quick. He's up in the teeth of the battle all of the time.
There's Bruce Williams going through across the line now. 2 laps to go.
I think if it stays the way it is, then that moves Bruce up to 2nd in the championship, and that's really good news for him. He's driving the auto action entry. Gives him a fistful of prize money, helps him stay in the game.
Halfway down the back straight, Bradley Jones. Has Harrington got anything left in reserve? I rather doubt at this stage. He's thrown everything at Bradley.
Well, I just wonder how much fuel he's got left in that thing.
Well, he might have enough. He could coast home from here for probably about 2nd spot. One lap to go. Last lap board is out for Bradley Jones of Albury. He takes the Cooper Tools Commodore down into turn number 1, running at about mid-track.
Bradley Jones, the Cooper Tools man, once again showing his mastery of AUSCAR racing in his accustomed position of 1st place on the final lap.
Coming up to turn number 3, he's opened that gap to about 4 car lengths. Turn 4 coming up now. Grandstand crowd starting to rise. They want to welcome them home. Checkered flag time in the Goodyear AUSCAR Classic. It goes to Bradley Jones. 2nd place will go to Stephen Harrington, and 3rd place to Bruce Williams. 4th to Mark Smedley, 5th to Robbie Burns, in what has been a very entertaining AUSCAR event at Calder Park Raceway this afternoon. There they are, the 2 Holden drivers who supplied all the action, or the 3 of them, I should say. And they come down the back straight. Let's check them out for you on race score. The winner this afternoon, Brad Jones in the Cooper Tools Commodore. 2nd spot to Steve Harrington. 3rd to Bruce Williams. 4th to Mark Smedley, and 5th to Robbie Burns. And we'll be back at Calder in just a moment. 7's coverage of NASCAR and AUSCAR racing here from Calder Park. You know, in 4 short years, Bob Jane has dramatically changed the face of mainstream motorsport in this country. Thunderdome and NASCAR are an unqualified success. And the good news is the gospel is about ready to spread to Sydney. Oval track racing has been part of Sydney's sporting heritage for over 60 years. Unfortunately, just about all of the venues have since disappeared, leaving but one, the Parramatta Raceway, located in the heart of industrialised Granville at the foot of the F4 freeway. Until recently, the long-term future of the sport at this venue was never considered secure, but there are moves underway for it to be redeveloped and dedicated as Sydney's site for speed. Nobody can deny the popularity of NASCAR racing. The influential Goodyear survey places the category ahead of Formula 1 and Indy cars, while the level of corporate support continues to grow significantly. When Bob Jane first announced his intention to divert from mainstream motorsport back in the early 80s and build his beloved Thunderdome, he was considered a radical, though today he's lauded as a man of vision.
People come to, in a lot of ways, to entertainment. They want to see things happen. Unfortunately, motor racing is whilst it has a dangerous element about it, has become too safe, or it looks too safe.
NASCAR and AUSCAR racing have been featured almost exclusively at Thunderdome since 1988, save for a brief and successful outing on James Adelaide International Raceway last year. Sydney now awaits. This is the Granville Showground site today, a small clay oval cut inside an 800-metre training track for trotters. It is neither a full-on speedway facility or a recognised TAB trotting arena. But developed properly for oval track racing, it will look something like this. A cross between Richmond, Virginia and the Bristol Raceway in Tennessee, the fastest NASCAR short track in the United States. The circuit measures a mere half-mile and hosts the only floodlit round of the 29-race Winston Cup Series. The Sydney Racelands project will incorporate a half-mile pavement oval with an inner dirt circuit for traditional speedway. Sprint car racing will continue to prosper at the new venue, and Sydney enthusiasts can look forward to an international motorcycle revival with test matches and world championship meetings back in the spotlight. The project has universal appeal and is free of politics, with support from both the New South Wales government and the opposition.
Yes, it certainly has. It's now recognised as one of the most popular international motor racing sports of its kind, and it can be held under floodlights, which is very important.
Well, any sporting event, I don't believe, should have politics involved in it, but I think the whole approach has been good. We've got support from both sides of Parliament and all the local members to see the Granville Speedway upgraded to what it should be.
It's going to be a tremendous boost to the tourist side of Parramatta, as well as the people in Sydney generally, Western Sydney in particular, as a place to go and enjoy themselves.
The pavement Racelands Oval will be encircled by an impregnable concrete wall with 7-metre-high debris fencing. Short track racing has been the heartbeat of NASCAR for 35 years. The racing is always close, and with the added bonus of floodlit action to come in Sydney, the growth of the sport should be spectacular.
High banked half mile, and we've got the right type of cars to do it with, and I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, we're very excited about it because after our days of racing on the asphalt at Liverpool, that's what really made up our mind to come and race down here at the Thunderdome. And the fact that our team's based in Sydney, it's going to make it a lot easier for us. We'll be there every race.
Of course, night racing is always more beautiful because the lights bring out the color in the cars and show the speed more so. And I really like night races. If they have a night race, I'm going to have to come over here and do a little racing.
You do run quicker at night than what you do in the day. Half mile, the cars will be closer, it'll be more competitive, it will be fantastic.
They put on as good a race on a Richmond-style track as they do on a super speedway. No drafting involved, but there's, more hard racing involved.
It's in the central location, and I think it's going to be the greatest thing that happened in NASCAR racing for it to happen in the Sydney area.
Kind of incorporates the best of super speedway, high-speed racing, and good old Saturday night slam-bang short track racing.
Of course, pavement short track racing is not new to Sydney. Frank Oliveri introduced the trend back in 1975 at his Liverpool Raceway. He's committed to Racelands, so too is existing venue promoter Dave Lander, the Showground Trust, the racers, and of course the fans. So let the good times roll. Calder Park Thunderdome, we're preparing for the NASCAR National 100. Let's look at the portion of the crowd off to the left. The grandstands along the front straight here at Thunderdome as the field parade by. One lap before we get the cars underway to take the green. Let's take a look at the way the top end of the field lines up this afternoon. George Elliott has pole in the real McCoy Chevy Lumina, 28.12. On the outside of the front row, Queensland's Charlie O'Brien. Beautiful effort that, 28.27. From 3 is Terry Fisher of the United States. From 4, number 2, Barry Graham. From position number 5, Fred Siri in the Commodore. Starting out of 6, Steve Cosson, Rookie of the Year. From 7, it's Robin Best from Tasmania. From 8, 91, Walter Giles. From Sydney, from 9, it's Kenny Laws. Good qualifying effort. Mike Oliver starts in car number 38, out of position number 10. Full field of 20 starters, and the pace car coming off turn number 4 as we wait for the start of the Vic Health NASCAR National, and it's George Elliott who gets away smartly. The crowd standing on the seats here as Elliott takes the lead, heading down to turn number 1. Charlie O'Brien runs in second spot. Then, of course, the American driver Terry Fisher in 09 getting away very quickly as they they work the back straight. He moves up on Charlie O'Brien. Barry Graham, a great start there, runs in 4th place. Robin Best off to a good start as well. He's made easily a lot of ground up in the opening laps, and Fred Seary away well. They're coming off turn number 4. 1 lap down, 99 to run.
George Elliott in the real McCoy Chevy Lumina. He did a fantastic effort in qualifying, fastest ever lap round this track, and his car was losing a bit of oil early on in practice, but he went for it and clocked a fantastic time, and already he split 3 or 4 car lengths on the rest of the field.
I'm very impressed with Charlie O'Brien's start in this race. A relative newcomer, but he is doing a fabulous job at the moment. They're all chasing George Elliott, the gap extending first to second.
Look at
one car at the pits already, Terry Byers, car 26.
And I think that's Fred Seary, is it, going into the pit area? Steve Cosson away smartly. And one losing a bit of ground there was Walter Giles. Terry Byers into the pits very quickly.
And that's Seary.
And that's Seary in car number 9. So 2 heading to the pits in the opening laps of this race. Georgie Elliott, meantime, in the real McCoy Kentucky Bourbon entry. Heads off turn number 4. There's Terry Byers, number 26 Chevy Lumina in the pits. Let's see what the problem is there. Well, it may have been a tyre problem, but no, it's not. Elliott, once again, through turn number 2. And that great scrap for second now as they work the back straight with Charlie O'Brien. In the car, of course, that we saw Terry Labonte win the Christmas race here at Calder Park Thunderdome, the Sunoco entry.
And Terry Fisher, the American, taking on to 3rd place.
So Fisher now up to 3rd. A small gap then back to Barry Graham in the McInerney number 2 car. Back behind them, Robin Best of Tasmania, the rookie. Right behind him in car number 77 is Steve Cosson. So Elliott doing a fair job out in front.
Charlie's slowly hauling him in, though, it looks. They come around to lap a car.
They're putting a lap already on Fred Seary, who's been into the pits, back out. So he goes down a lap as they sweep by him on the outside.
Those top cars are starting to open up a pretty healthy gap now. Barry Graham is in 4th, then Robin Best.
And they've really nailed Elliott there. He got held up, and Charlie O'Brien's right on his tail, and here comes...
That's Terry Fisher, the American, who drops down into 2nd. So Elliott really having to concentrate here.
Wow, that all changed in about 2 seconds there.
But keep in mind, George got into the Winston Cup type of racing only 12 months ago. He's done a tremendous job. Formed the real McCoy team. He and Barry Graham, of course, with their NASCAR school, not only here in Australia but in the United States. In fact, 25 of the American finalists from that school arriving in Melbourne this morning for their finals during the week. Terry Fisher, who I thought did very well at the Christmas 400. He's not only here for today's race, but he's going for the support race at the Gold Coast IndyCar Grand Prix a fortnight from today on the street course at Surfers Paradise.
Yeah, young American driver, has a bit of flat track experience and runs the Winston Cup West in America, which is perhaps a less powerful category than this, but still a very competitive category, and he's thoroughly enjoying his time in the big ones, the NASCARs.
Well, a couple of the guys I thought would be up the front and giving them a tough timing, and Thomas just a little off the pace. The leaders have stretched it very, very quickly, and they've opened quite a gap up. It'll take probably at least a yellow flag to haul them back in. Charlie O'Brien not letting Fisher get away from him.
Just noticed a few puffs of smoke coming from the back of Fisher's car. There it is again, coming off the outside right tyre. Keep an eye on that.
So Charlie is pulling him in as they come down the back straight. And it's good to see Charlie O'Brien in a very competitive car, very popular Queenslander. Turn 4 comes up. George Elliott doing a sterling job out in front.
Yeah, Big Charlie's taken to this stuff like a duck to water. He was always a hard charger in touring car racing, and it hasn't changed now. He loves this sort of stuff.
He's having a big go here. He was well positioned that time, but couldn't quite get underneath.
Terry Fisher comes onto the back straight. Charlie O'Brien sits in the draft as they work their way up into turn number 3.
Well, whatever that smoke is coming from Fisher's car, it doesn't seem to be slowing him down dramatically. But it would be a bit of a worry, and Charlie would certainly be aware of it too, sitting right in the draft.
Barry Graham still runs 4th place in the number 2 McInerney entry. Steve Cosson, I think, is one back behind him, and problems for the Terry Byers team. Wretched luck for Terry. One of the best turned out cars here in NASCAR competition in Australia. just really hasn't had the best of run with his new car. Here's Charlie O'Brien, is it? Sweeping down on the inside, so he's picked up second. Now, can Charlie haul in George Elliott? I believe he probably can. This is all quite new to Charlie. We saw Neil at the top of the program dealing with just a couple of laps around here to explain it. But Charlie's dropped into the top end, Neil. He hasn't had a great deal of practice around here. He's doing a great job.
He is, and he's really starting to close on Elliott now at the end of the back straight, and has got right up into the draft of the car and should get some benefit from it. Now there's a gap appearing. He pulls down tight on the inside, and I tell you what, Charlie O'Brien could almost lead this race at the end of the lap, and does so. Charlie O'Brien on the move.
And look at Fisher.
Fisher takes Elliott as well.
That was very tight, but that was the move. While George Elliott was hanging up to dry, above the white line was to zip in. That's Max's favourite turn, the Australian sprint car champ. Guy who has done so well over the Christmas period, wrapping up the Winfield ASC series. Second only start here at Calder. And I think in the Christmas 400 he had 3 losers, 3 quick ones. Tail swappers, they were all in that turn. Back down through the tri-oval.
Well, these two are actually starting to pull away from George Elliott now. And
Barry Graham still running in 4th. Robin Best, who I think everyone expected to be the pole sitter for today's race in the Uranova Lumina. Here's Fisher. Charlie, just a little taily that time on the exit to that turn. And down goes Fisher on the inside. He takes the lead away from Charlie O'Brien. They come onto the back straight. Fisher, I think, probably hasn't got as much engine as O'Brien.
Yeah, Charlie's thing certainly looks healthy, and he's not going to let him get away with that. They're both two very aggressive drivers.
It's all going to seem like very hard work from here for Charlie.
And we've had a car in all sorts of trouble here.
That looks like the Kim Jane car that's floating up against the wall and will probably stop and bring out the yellows.
Yellows are out now.
Now that is going to be a great benefit for Robin Best and a couple of the other drivers who missed the kick initially. Only to have the front runners open up by about 200 or 300 metres on them. So the first yellow in the NASCAR National 100 from Calder Park Thunderdome this afternoon. The cause of that being Kim Jane, who was up against the wall in car number 27, the Goodyear entry. He brings out the yellows until they can push the car off the racetrack, then it's back to green. Cars still circulate around under the yellow flag. Push truck in position to get Kim Jane's car off the racetrack as our race cam, our Bob Jane T-Mart's race cam, with Robin Best at the wheel, the Australian NASCAR champ. How's it going, Robin?
Okay, it's going all right. Track's a little slippery. The car's just a tad loose, but you know, it's okay. We're going okay.
It seems like the rest of the guys got away to a pretty good start, and you were trailing them there. This yellow flag will help you.
Okay, this will help me a great deal. Fred Seary got a puncture just in front of me, and he was looking a bit ragged there for half a lap, so I had to hold back a bit. But you know, we're looking pretty good. The car feels good, and we'll be right.
Okay, thanks very much, Robin Best. Pace car brings the field around turn number 3, drops below the racing line. We have 23 laps completed under racing and yellow flag conditions. We're just about ready to go back to the green flag after that Kim Jane incident. Out comes the green, pedal to the metal, and it's Terry Fisher who will lead them across the line. Whole group of lap cars down there, and Barry Graham actually trying to muscle his way up into about 3rd spot, turn number 1.
The guy that didn't get a good jump at all was Charlie O'Brien in all that, Mike. He dropped back a couple of spots, and George Elliott moving up. So an interesting start, but no question that Terry Fisher's the pace of the pack.
It's going to take another yellow to haul Terry Fisher back, let me tell you. He comes off turn number 4. It's the guys here in the middle of the pack scrap for 2nd, 3rd and 4th. The order is Fisher over George Elliott. Next is Charlie O'Brien. Barry Graham runs in 4th. Robin Best using the high line. And there's Terry Byers. It just goes from bad to worse for young Terry, the pride of Wollongong. He's down there on the infield trying to get out of harm's way. Rest of the field work the back straight. Tucked up here on the inside is Terry Fisher. Off turn number 4, Fred Searing on the outside. Fisher goes inside, and he'll lead it convincingly across the straight. In second is George Elliott, the Real McCoy Kentucky Bourbon car. That's the yellow and black machine. The Oldsmobile as he works his way onto the back straight. Charlie O'Brien still runs in third. Graham is fourth as they come down the back chute. Kenny Law's moving up one spot. Robin Best is next, followed by Steve Cosson. That's the order out of turn number 4. Elliott there in the 55 car trying to get by Seary and get back onto the bumper of Terry Fisher. And Charlie O'Brien trying to keep him honest as he zeroes in on the inside.
Elliott went in hard that time. We've got
Walter Giles is involved. Wyatt Earp, the 1V, has also hit the wall down the front straight away in the 22 car. And one coming straight across into the pits. Looks like the 11 car out of Tasmania. And that, of course, brings out the yellow flags yet again. We might take a look at our race score to see how the cars were running, because they have some clean-up to go. Quite an incident there involving 4 or 5 cars as we take our replay. It all happened up here. Involved Walter Giles. I think it was Oliver also involved in that. Wyatt Earp, the 4th. You can see there the yellow car in the middle of the pavement. These two with Walter Giles in the 91 car, gouging each other through the infield. They didn't have to go too far for a pit stop. Yellow flags are out at Calder Park Thunderdome. They've got some sheet metal to try and fix in the pit area. There's young Wyatt Earp, the great-grandson of the legendary Wyatt Earp. Okay, let's check them out for you on our wins race score. Terry Fisher from the United States leads the NASCAR National 100. George Elliott of Sydney runs in second. Charlie O'Brien of Queensland is third. Sydney's Barry Graham is fourth. Ken Laws runs in fifth. There's some clean-up work to go, and we'll be back at Thunderdome. Called to Thunderdome, Terry Fisher, the 09 car, continues to lead the NASCAR National 100 here this afternoon. We just saw that incident involving 5 cars down through the infield. Young Wyatt Earp, the 4th, one of the drivers involved. How's it feel, Wyatt? It's been a pretty rough old trip to Australia so far.
Yeah, it's been a long trip, and, you know, bad luck's been going all week, but today things were looking really good. We were just out there riding around and taking our time and letting the field, you know, weed itself out, and that's what happens.
Yeah, it looked like it was a tangle between about 5 cars, and there was no way out of that accident.
Yeah, it's on the restart, the car's sluggish taking off, so I kind of fell back a couple spots, and I got by them. And as I went through 1 and 2, a car cut me off coming out. And when we went through 3 and 4, they started to get sideways. I seen the smoke, and I pulled in, and usually we go where the wreck is, and I was clear. Now, out of nowhere, someone come down the side of me, and it's too bad because the Thunderdome car was really, really good.
Well, I guess that's racing luck, as they say. You haven't had the best of it since you arrived in Australia. 1 car into the wall yesterday and 1 out early today.
Yeah, yesterday we had a problem. The car broke and we backed into the wall. But like in the old days, when you fall off the horse, you get back on.
Well, I guess if your great-great-great-great-grandfather was here, what would he say? Press on?
Carry on.
Brave, courageous and bold. Thank you, Wyatt.
Thank you very much.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Wyatt Earp, the 4th, who we saw involved in that accident down there on the approach to pit road.
Pace car leads the field around. We've got about half a lap to go before we go racing, with Terry Fisher leading, and we welcome to our commentary box, while things are just a little quiet, Mr. John Andretti. Welcome to Australia. John, you're here for the Gold Coast Grand Prix.
Yeah, I am. I appreciate being here again.
The Prince of Pennzoil, eh? He's going to really set them alight up there at the Gold Coast. You're just flying in today. This has been helter-skelter stuff.
Well, I'll tell you, we get here at noon, and luckily there was a exciting AUSCAR race, and kind of brought me back to life, and now I'm enjoying a NASCAR race. The only problem is I have to watch most of it on the television. I can't see that far out.
Yes. All righty, we'll come back to some comments shortly, because we expect to go back to green in about 10 seconds. Terry Fisher doing a great job, the 09 Pontiac. That's Terry on the outside of the front row. Green flag comes out, so it's Fisher to lead away. Lap number 32 of 100. Fisher is your race leader. George Elliott in the Real McCoy Bourbon car 55 will run down into second spot in the bottom turn. And as they exit turn number 2 now, working onto the back straight, Fisher carting it very high up against the wall as he heads down the back straight. A couple of lap cars in amongst them. Then, of course, George Elliott coming through, Charlie O'Brien, Barry Graham, Ken Law's doing well, and also Tasmanian Robin Best. That's the order as they reel off one more lap. And the longer this race goes, Terry Fisher looks to have a fairly good handle on it.
Certainly got the car well balanced at the moment, and he seems to be able to skip away when he wants to. But that next pack, she's really on. We've got George Elliott, Charlie O'Brien, Barry Graham, Ken Laws, and they're very closely matched. Charlie O'Brien's still the aggressor in this pack. He looks pretty good at the moment.
Pretty tight down through here. O'Brien, almost the measure this time of George Elliott. There's Elliott. The yellow car, black top, sitting in behind one of those slower cars. Not too slow as they come down the back straight, because George is having a problem getting by, and Charlie O'Brien pulls right up on his tail. That could well be Max Dumsney, is it? No, it's Fred Seary in the number 9 car. This could be the moment that Charlie O'Brien has been waiting for. Tries to slip down on the inside of Elliott. There you can see him. Couldn't pull it that time.
George got a slow exit out of turn 4 that time, and he was balked by Seary, but he was still able to hold his ground as they got down to turn 1. Now Seary's dropped back a couple of spots, so clearly we've still got Fisher in control with a reasonable margin over George Elliott, then Charlie O'Brien. And O'Brien having lost a couple of car lengths on Elliott this last lap, but Elliott up very high as he came off 4, and O'Brien closes the gap once again. And with 36 laps down, Fisher with a margin of just over 1 second.
Fisher, the exit to turn 2. Elliott sits behind him, and here's Charlie O'Brien coming back. Was up front there for a while, slipped out of the groove, was passed by Fisher, also by Elliott. And now he's back on the tail of the Kentucky Bourbon car again, the real McCoy machine. Barry Graham continues to run back there in 4th spot. Ken Laws in 5th. Good day for Ken Laws so far. Here they come along the back straight. O'Brien having his first drive of one of these Winston Cup cars in competition today. The red number 8 car, that's the machine that Terry Labonte won the rain short NASCAR 400 here at Thunderdome on December 1. I've been very impressed with the way that Charlie has taken to this style of racing. We're riding with the race cam, Barry Graham in the McInerney Cutlass. Barry's 4th on the road. And he seems to have spent all day just trying to get by Fred Seary. Fred had problems at the start of the race. While he's out there and circulating, he is very, very fast indeed. And he's trying to win back the laps that he lost early in the event. Some great race cam picks there as they come down the front straight. And John Andretti, the good news is that these guys are also going to run the support race at to the IndyCar Gold Coast Grand Prix.
Yeah, I imagine they're going to have to do quite a bit of work to get the cars to go left and right instead of just going left. And
I would think brakes would be an even bigger problem.
Yeah, it seems that they don't need them quite as much there as they're going to need them in Surfer's Paradise. But you know, I think that the interesting thing is, we just watched the race earlier. I did, going the other way, and now we're watching it this way. It's in America we only run the ovals this way, so it was interesting to see it the other way.
Yes, the other category, the AUSCAR category, is a very, very interesting class, isn't it? They're very close.
Very, very competitive, and any racing that you do, it's difficult to win in, and the race there, they did an excellent job.
Well, we hope that you have a good run. Oh, has got a spin up there between turn 3 and 4. It's Ian Thomas in the Cairns Colonial Resort entry. That's the car that American Dick Trickle raced here during the Christmas event. No problem there. He's got it around sideways. Straightened it up on the grass. They haven't thrown a yellow as yet, but as you can see, Ian really did cook the tyres between those 2 turns, got it around sideways and rode it all the way down to the inside of the racetrack and out of harm's way. The good news is that didn't bring out a yellow, so the dice continues with Terry Fisher up front. followed by George Elliott, then a fast closing Charlie O'Brien. Barry Graham is the next one back in 4th spot, and Barry has his hands full containing Kenny Laws this afternoon. Now, it's great to see not only yourself over early watching the race, but good to welcome the kart drivers to Australia. Unfortunately, there's been so much stupid publicity that we've read about the event negative talk about rebel races and so forth. I tell you what, I've been to the Indianapolis 500 any number of times. Anyone in their right mind has got to hide to call that category or that race or the people who support it rebels. Attracting 450,000 people don't even know what they're talking about.
Well, it's a shame that there has to be a little bit of a black cloud over what should be a great race, and I hope that we can get through it clean.
I don't think there is a black cloud over it anymore. I think all the buffheads have talked themselves out, so hopefully it'll get down to what people want to see, the action. I mean, everyone loves Formula 1 and NASCAR and touring cars and whatever, and it's just been very unfortunate to see so much negative stuff early in the piece. Well, all the guys looking forward to coming out?
Absolutely. I think that because it's our first race and because it's our first international venue, we have to look at it that we're going to try especially hard, and I always feel like we try to do more than what's really needed of us. And I really enjoy the Australian people, and I've been down here a few times, and I think all the other IndyCar drivers are going to find it the same way, and very hospitable and very welcome.
That's very good of you, John, for those remarks. We've seen you here in the midget and, of course, at Bathurst. Let's check them out for you now on our race score to see. Well, there they are quite plainly. It's getting close for second. Terry Fisher of the United States leads in the Wards Express Pontiac. Second is Georgie Elliott in the Chevy Lumina. Third, Charlie O'Brien. Fourth is Barry Graham. And rounding out the 5, Ken Laws. Back at Calder in just a tick. The Park Thunderdome, and it is very, very close up front. One going, blowing smoke everywhere. The number 10 car down the front straight, that's Nick Girdlestone. And whether or not Nick has done the time, that looked very oily as he came down the front straight. And that will bring out the yellow flag and close up the competition no end. That's young Oliver in the pits, Trevor Oliver in the car that wired the 1V. Stuck quickly into the wall yesterday in practice. Anyway, Trevor's doing a good job, still running out there. But the guy that really has impressed me is Terry Fisher, the young American driver. Watch this for a quick pit stop. Gas going in now. They're going to give him right side tyres. That, of course, will jumble up the field. Max Dumsney comes in. Ken Laws, who was running strongly, is in. Ian Thomas, who needed to come in because of those bedrock specials, after he flat spotted all 4 of them coming off the bank. Very orderly pit stop under the yellow.
And trying to change inside wheels as well. Quite a slick stop this. Those guys are drilled doing this at record time.
They're okay at the moment. He's going to join the field, of course, at the tail. He's still got a bit of time before the pace car comes around. There he goes. Pace car still brings them down the front straight. Should be 1 lap before we go back to racing here at Calder Park Thunderdome, with Charlie O'Brien to lead them away. Steve Harrington doing a good job up there in second. And Robin Best still hanging in there. How are things going, Robin?
Going great. Well, it is. It's going great, really. I've had to get out of it a little bit on account of I'm a little loose, but you know, the car's going fine. My temperature's up a little, but we'll be right.
Okay, I'll let you go. I think they're ready for the restart the next time you come around.
Thank you.
44 laps to go as the pace car pulls beneath the yellow line, coming back into racing. And O'Brien will need to get the foot into it. And in fact, it was Steve Harrington who almost broke the car loose as they come down the front straight. Charlie O'Brien will put the nose in front as he heads to the bottom turn.
Mike Oliver tucked up there with the blue car, 38. He's in 3rd position. And Terry Fisher, Barry Graham and George Elliott.
Here comes Charlie O'Brien down the back straight. Steve Harrington mixed up in everyone's race there at the head of the pack. Terry Fisher is already storming towards the leaders. He's already passed there's Harrington, who's caused...
He was a couple of laps down, and he's caused a major drama over there. That's Barry Graham, who's pummeled into the side of him.
He got tapped from behind. He wasn't the cause of it. Terry Fisher gave him a nudge from behind.
Barry Blake there and the Sheraton Hotel, car from Western Australia, the number 7 machine.
You'll see on the replay that as they went down into turn number 1, that Harrington definitely got launched and then got sideways and has really paid a penalty here.
Well, he did jump on the... okay,
you watch this. He got nudged around sideways and bang. Terry Fisher.
Yeah, Fisher. And Barry Graham into the side, and also one of the real McCoy.
Chain reaction back down the field because quite a few guys then had losers. Now for the race cam replay, you can see Fisher right into the back of Harrington's car.
Just this.
Wait for this. It'll come.
There he is.
Here's Graham. Well, that was Robin Best. Well, it's all academic now. It's happened. Multi-car tangle, all triggered perhaps by a touch between Steve Harrington
front right
and Terry Fisher, the young American driver who looked so sharp early in this race, continued to lead it until a pit stop, was coming back, was up into, I believe, 3rd place, and has touched the back of Harrington's car, which I believe was down a lap.
And Charlie O'Brien's coming into the pits as well.
Well, Charlie has picked the best time. He's under no pressure at the moment. He's got a fresh car and he's got a straight car, which is more than Terry Fisher can say.
Yeah. Bit of smoke puffing off it too. It's interesting. We'll see what instant surgery they can do to this car and try and get it back into the race, because up until that stage he was the guy who was really on the pace.
Well, Barry Graham, George Elliott, their cars were involved in the tangle. They were the innocent victims. In the meantime, Terry Fisher has gone in to try and rectify his problems. Got a bit of work to do there.
Attacking it with hammers and axes and everything else they got, trying to get the bodywork away from the tyres.
And they'll have to do some instant wheel alignment.
And Charlie O'Brien rejoins the field.
So it's all going pretty well for Charlie at the moment, and also for Robin Best, I would believe. In the 11 car, they've stayed out of harm's way here today. Oliver still continues in a strong spot. And that accident has severely depleted the field. Kenny Law still running. He's pitted, number 6 car. There's the Steve Harrington car going away. There's the 55 George Elliott, Real McCoy, Kentucky Bourbon car.
We're down to about 12 or 13 cars now, so there's been a fair bit of carnage this afternoon.
And of course Barry Graham in the McInerney car.
Well, they've got Fisher going again. Just pulled that guard away. But that was a pretty heavy hit. So I'd imagine the alignment would be a bit out at this stage.
There's Georgie Elliott going over to go down to the medical centre. George is okay, but it's a practice here as soon as...
And there's Harrington's car as well.
I notice Walter Giles is still up there and running as we take the Bob Jane T-Mart's race cam. He's looking at the back of Robin Best's car. Walter Giles running, I think, down a few laps. He was tangled up in, I think, the scramble inside the first couple.
Very disappointing.
And the problem area is the front right. Looks like just cut the tyre then, so we have to do a little bit more surgery.
I think they're running out of time too, because I think they're going to go back to green fairly shortly. Looking for the Graham car to see if it's back in the pits. Fisher gets underway. So that has really put a bit of a dent in the field this afternoon, and with so many laps under the yellow. Here they come around turn number 4. Should receive the signal going back to racing in 1 lap's time. They take the green. Oliver gets away.
Actually, Robin Best got a pretty dreadful start. I think he might have even bopped into the back of the bumper on the Oliver mobile, and then as Robin got the foot in, the thing got sideways and he lost a lot of ground.
There's Ian Thomas making a great run down the back straight. He's down a lap. And Terry Sawyer's got mixed up in all this traffic. Now she should have, I would have thought, started on the outside in third spot. Steve Cosson in the meantime in the 77 car, making a good run at them as they go to the bottom turn. Terry Fisher moves up to third place. That's a good effort. We'll check them out for you on our wins race scores. We have one just below going into the bottom turn.
That's Laws.
Kenny Laws is let loose. Just look at that. There it is. And he has left a trail of smoke through the bottom turn. That'll bring out the yellow, so that might just give us the opportunity to update them for you on our wins race score. We're ready to do that. Let's recap them for you now as Laws heads back to the pit area. There's Kenny Laws heading back into the pits. Let's check them for you on the wins race score. Mike Oliver continues to lead the NASCAR 100. Robin Best of Tasmania in second. Charlie O'Brien is third. America's Terry Fisher is fourth. And the rookie Steve Cosson is fifth. Back at Calder in just a moment. For the moment, looking for the pace car. It drops beneath the yellow line. And we go back to racing with Mike Oliver away quickly. One wandering off the inside that time. On the inside was Ian Thomas. Again, Robin Best slow to start, and Terry Fisher, the young American driver, coming up smartly on the outside. Now, whether or not he'll be able to get through the turn from there and past cars, we'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, Oliver's not waiting for a soul. He works the back straight, going comfortably clear. Look at the traffic, though. Helter Skelter into turn number 3.
My money's on Charlie O'Brien. He's just pushing through the pack slowly but surely. He's in position to come up to third. He's giving Terry Fisher something to think about at the moment. And now moves up to third.
Terry's doing a great job too. That car's looking a bit battered and tired, but he's still hanging on to Charlie.
Well, Oliver's clear as they come down the back straight. Ian Thomas is the second car behind, but here the rest of the pack.
O'Brien's 1.8 seconds behind Oliver at this stage, and he's looking in great shape.
Yes, it's really down to whether the combination of O'Brien and Fisher can run down Oliver. Oliver's out front and doing it fairly comfortably.
Charlie's dropped Fisher right off in a couple of laps, so he's really out there on his own now. He's
Terry.
hauling in Oliver at an unbelievable pace.
He is too.
20 laps to go.
Here's Mike Oliver. Then there's Ian Thomas, who's down a lap. Then Charlie O'Brien chasing the leader, runs in second. Terry Fisher of the United States. There's one back behind them as we join Robin Best with the Bob Jane T-Mart's race cam. Good stuff here. Turn 4, back through the tri-oval, trying to work his way to the inside. There's Terry Fisher. There's a lead change about halfway down the back straight. We're onto it because here comes Charlie O'Brien.
Charlie's really nailed him now.
He is really picking up Fisher as they come down through the tri-oval again.
Now is Oliver going to have an answer? No, Charlie has looked down the inside.
Charlie can afford to take his time. It's about 19 to go. I'll move on to the back straight. He's got a lot more grunt as they come down the back straight, pull out of the draft and shoot to the inside. And here he goes, looking for the lead in the NASCAR National 100, Charlie O'Brien.
But Ian Thomas in front sort of stopped him making that move, but he hasn't dropped him off at all.
So that got Mike Oliver back and running again in a hurry.
Yeah, he's picked up 2 or 3 car lengths, and Thomas is still in front of them.
Thomas trying to fight him.
Thomas doesn't want to be lapped. That's obvious.
Oh, he's got a big heart, Ian Thomas.
He's showing a good turn of speed too. He's been holding Charlie off for a number of laps there.
These are all new
and
guys.
He's still in front.
Oh, you don't.
He's lost it.
Oh no! Look out, Charlie!
Oh,
Charlie just clipped the front of him.
How did he?
Oh, and he's copped Oliver as well. It's not over yet. Oliver's just gone to the infield.
So Ian Thomas comes
there
to
you
a
are.
stop.
There's Charlie. All sorts of damage. The front right-hand tyre is flat. And that's a great shame.
Well, it's time to do some panel work here in the pits. That's Ian Thomas, the 23 car. Smokes the tyres. And it's all getting pretty tight. They're all... There's Robin Best. And very important you start where you should be starting here. And Robin hasn't shown today that he's had the combination to run them down. And Terry wants to win this one. Terry Sawyer, that is. It's really going to have to be application and a lot of throttle. But she's done very well. Just the same, she stayed out of harm's way today, and there's been a lot of banging and crashing and short track racing going on out there.
It really has been a race of survival. All the cars are looking a bit tired now.
And it'll be Terry Sawyer who will lead them away on the outside. Look at the grandstand crowd cheering and screaming for the young Melbourne girl. Here she comes down in the purple car, the Bob Jane T-Mart's car, into turn number 1. Floats off onto the back straightaway. She's had a strong engine, but coming up right behind her is the American driver, Terry Fisher. But it's Terry Sawyer, 20-year-old from Melbourne. It's Fisher. Pokes the nose of his car, the number 09 Pontiac, down on the inside. Fisher, the American, coming at her, and Robin Best now coming out of the pack.
Mike Oliver tucked in behind him. Oh, another one.
One up into the wall, and I think it was Barry Blake.
Barry Blake, yep.
The back straight, that'll bring the yellow out. This race may finish under a yellow. I'm not sure if they've got to go back to 5 racing laps.
That was Robin Best tangled up in that as well, so we may well get a bird's eye view from race cam of what happened there.
They come back across to take the yellow. Crowd think this is absolutely marvellous. Young Terry Sawyer. Let's have a look at this on our race cam replay.
Oops. You don't get much closer to a shunt than that.
Yeah. Black.
Let's have a look again.
Yeah, Best was involved in that.
Yeah, he's maybe just touched the back of Barry Blake's car. There's some work that Barry really didn't need on his car, let me tell you. So he scrapes up against the wall. And that's what's left of our bumper cam.
Race cam's got a black eye.
Gee willikers, it's been a pretty tight old race so far.
It sure has, Mike. This Wattle Thunderbird is running. Feels real nice, and you know, I've got a guy sitting on the side of me here. But no, it feels good. My car is well, my car's good. I just wish I had a little more horsepower. I can't quite keep up with these Chevrolets out of the turn.
Okay, well, when we resume, it would seem that Terry Sawyer will lead you away.
Yeah, well, good on her. I hope she does well.
Here
Sawyer.
they come.
Sawyer
Green flag. 5 laps to go in the National NASCAR 100 from Calder Park, Thunderdome. Walter Giles down on the inside of Terry Sawyer. Terry will exit that turn comfortably. Let's have a look at horsepower. She got enough to hold off Terry Fisher as they come down the back straight. Tell you what, she's running comfortably. Fisher getting on racing terms with her. She'll back it off just a little earlier than Fisher will going into the turn. And Fisher is all over Terry Sawyer. Can she get it back down to the inside? They have 4 laps to go. Will Terry Sawyer become the first lady to win a NASCAR contest in the world? It's unbelievable stuff. And she's got some hard liners right on the tail as they come down the back straight. Fisher, and getting right up on Fisher's tail as they work away, I think, is Oliver. They're having their own little brawl between themselves. Terry Sawyer, meantime, is doing a good job. She's come off the 4th turn. The crowd is absolutely over the top. 3 laps to go.
Mike Oliver comes up to take Fisher.
Here's Oliver on the outside. Good move, good pass. The car of Fisher is not handling as well as he would like.
But they're not touching Sawyer. She's pulled out 4, 5, 6 car lengths on these guys now.
I think Fisher's looks evil. It just looks dead set evil in the middle of these corners.
I don't know if you can see at home the crowd as we come down the front straight. Hats in the air. 2 laps to go. There's the pit crew. Some racing history being created here this afternoon at Calder Thunderdome.
The local girl. That'll be one for the NASCAR books. An Australian woman wins the first girl to win a NASCAR race in the world.
Oh, this is unbelievable stuff. She is streeting them. She's opened the taps up and she's pulled 10 car lengths going down the back straight. The grandstand, just looking at whatever number of people that are here today, all just throwing caps in the air. 1 lap to go to a piece of racing history as 20-year-old Terry Sawyer gets the pedal to the metal and opens up the gap over some of the best male racers in Australia. They're all into turn number 2 now. Terry Sawyer is working the back straightaway in the Bob Jane T-Mart's car, coming up to turn number 3. Gap still 10 to 12 car lengths. Last turn coming up. Spectators jumping in the seats in the grandstand. Terry Sawyer, the first NASCAR lady main event winner. She wins it. Second to Terry Fisher of the United States. Third goes to Mike Oliver. And a touch in the bottom turn as Oliver, I think it was, went up into the wall. Well, that was all after the event. They had their chances to pull her back in. There's Mike Oliver. He got a clip, he got a touch.
He got a bit of a cuff from, I think, Charlie O'Brien. I couldn't see the incident clearly, but there were 3 cars involved in it, and Mike Oliver ended up being the sandwich.
Like a sandwich
Terry Fisher, wasn't it?
Oliver and Fisher.
I think began when Charlie ducked to the inside and got Mike Oliver, but a tricky one to pick.
There's the race cam replay of it. Oh, it was all pretty ugly and nasty as they all hit the wall and bounced off each other down in the bottom turn. Well, no doubt about who's won the NASCAR National 100 at Calder Park Thunderdome this afternoon. Let's check them out for you. Our Windsor race score. She's done it. First Lady NASCAR winner in the world. Terry Sawyer, young Melbourne girl in the Bob Jane T-Mart's Pontiac, beating Terry Fisher in a Pontiac, Mike Oliver in a Ford, Charlie O'Brien in the Delta, and Tasmanian Robin Best finishes.
Pressed to find a better 100 laps of motor racing action than that last 100 laps, and Terry Sawyer, the winner. Congratulations, he must be pumped.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. It's just so exciting. I can't believe it's actually happened yet. I didn't expect to happen on my 3rd meeting. I thought in a couple of years maybe we might get there, but the guys have put it together and we got there.
Now, you had a drama a little earlier in the week, they tell me. There was some body work to be done.
Yeah, I backed it in the wall. It's just a little bit loose and driver error, and the guys got it fixed and it was like brand new.
Well, the car looked to be extremely well balanced despite having some dramas earlier in the week, particularly in those last few laps. You just kicked away and left them for dead.
Yeah, it was pushing a lot, so I had to really use the throttle into it, which is not really the way to drive, but I had to get the power down and get a little bit of the pressure off, which helps.
Well, you did a great job, and everybody in the stands was absolutely cheering for you, and viewers across Australia were thinking this is fabulous.
Well, that's good. I need all the support I can get, so that's fantastic.
You had plenty of it. Congratulations, Terry. Look forward to seeing you here next time. And the man that won the AUSCAR race today, it's become such a familiar gig that I'm tired of talking to him. Brad Jones, Cooper Tools car, you did a good job.
Thanks, Neil. It was one of the most interesting races we've had here, I think. I don't know that the leader swapped so many times as it did today.
It seemed to me as though you had the measure of the field, particularly in those last few laps. Did you feel confident?
No. When Harrington raged up beside me towards the end there, I was really starting to panic. I think the difference was we stopped and put a couple of tyres on it, and he just kept on going. So, you know, it was close. I thought when we got a clear run, we could, you know, pull away from them. But once they got near me, it was plenty of trouble.
So the championship now starting to look pretty good for you.
Well, this sort of racing, you never know. As you saw in the NASCAR race and the AUSCAR race, it's pretty easy to have an accident and end up with no points. So we're just going to persevere and see what happens.
OK, Brad, look forward to seeing you shortly at the Gold Coast. That was the motor racing action today, but it doesn't stop there on the 7 Network. More to come next week.
Yes, a week from today, Neil, round 2 of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship at Symmons Plains in Tasmania. Well, we trust that you've enjoyed the action of the AUSCAR and NASCAR Nationals from Calder Park Thunderdome this afternoon. Our congratulations to Terry Sawyer and to Bradley Jones. And we look forward to your company a week from today. Goodbye until then. Today's